The early 2000s were a turning point in the tractor industry. Manufacturers were under pressure to modernize, improve fuel efficiency, and add technology that would make farming easier and more productive. But innovation doesn't always arrive smoothly. Some tractors from this era became notorious not for what they accomplished, but for how deeply they frustrated the people who bought them. From constant mechanical breakdowns to design decisions that feel almost unbelievable in hindsight, a handful of machines left farmers shaking their heads, and sometimes shaking with anger. These weren't merely minor disappointments. These were tractors that turned good money into long days, broken parts, and regrets that lasted well beyond the final payment. This countdown explores 5 of the most hated tractors of the 2000s, the ones that taught owners painful lessons about trusting brand promises too easily. Number 5. John Deere 6010 Series, certain models. In the early 2000s, John Deere continued to hold a commanding presence in the agricultural world, but even the Green Giant stumbled. Some units in the 6010 series suffered from serious transmission failures and electronic control glitches that made simple field tasks unexpectedly complicated. Farmers who expected rock-solid reliability were blindsided by software-related shutdowns at the worst possible times. When a machine famous for durability suddenly requires specialist diagnostics, frustration spreads fast. Many reluctantly admitted that this was one deer they wished they had let wander back into the forest. Number 4. New Holland TV 6070. The idea behind the TV 6070 was innovative, a bi-directional tractor that could be operated with equal capability in forward or reverse. It sounded like the perfect solution for loader work and hay operations. But when theory met real fields, the excitement faded. The complicated articulation system, paired with a propensity for costly hydrostatic failures, turned the tractor into a maintenance nightmare. Operators found themselves wrestling with poor maneuverability that should have been the tractor's strength. Instead of revolutionizing versatility, it proved how an ambitious idea can go terribly wrong when the execution isn't ready. Farmers treat machinery like partners, and this one was the unreliable type you stop calling back. Number 3. Massey Ferguson 6400 Series, early units. Massey Ferguson has always had loyal supporters, but the early 6400 series models tested that loyalty hard. They entered the market with bold promises: sophisticated engines, improved fuel efficiency, and refined cab comfort. What owners received instead were problems rooted deeply in the very electronics that were supposed to be the future. Sensors failed, dash displays glitched, power came and went as though the tractor itself could not decide whether it felt like working. The complexity of fixing these issues, combined with the price tag associated with repairing advanced systems, sparked resentment even among devoted MF fans. The irritation wasn't subtle. It was the kind that builds slowly with every expensive service bill and every call for a technician who doesn't arrive soon enough. Trust once lost is hard to rebuild, and this series spent years trying to recover from the blow. Number 2. Case I HMXU Series. Case IH is a brand known for rugged, high-performing designs, but the MXU series from the 2000s revealed where even strong reputations can crack. What began with enthusiasm often turned to anger as owners confronted hydraulic failures that seemed to strike at random. The electronically controlled transmission, intended to modernize operation, instead became the tractor's most frequent downfall. Error codes would appear without warning, then disappear just long enough for the operator to hope the issue was solved until the next breakdown. A tractor should be predictable. Even a weak one is tolerable if you know its limits. The MXU failed because no one could ever count on what it might do next. As downtime increased, disappointment hardened into dislike. When a machine interrupts harvest or leaves a hay baler sitting in the field halfway through a season's work, resentment grows into full-blown hatred, and this series earned that emotion honestly. Number 1. The New Holland TG Series, a decade of technician visits. At the top of this list sits a machine that became infamous for its mix of unrealized ambitions and stubborn unreliability, the New Holland TG Series. Launched with futuristic appeal, digital controls, and a sleek look for the time, it was supposed to be the symbol of progress. But what farmers got instead was a tractor that behaved like a prototype that escaped the lab too soon. Transmission troubles haunted many owners, showing up as harsh shifting, slipping under pressure, or complete operational lockout. Electrical systems became the bane of existence for anyone trying to keep the tractor running through long planting or harvesting days. The software that was marketed as cutting edge felt like a trap, blinking warnings, shutting down systems, and demanding the attention of trained specialists just to perform basic work. Worse still was the feeling that no amount of dealer visits ever fully solved the problems. Farmers who needed a dependable field performer instead found themselves scrambling to locate loaner tractors or begging neighbors for help during crucial time windows. The bitterness that resulted was not mild annoyance. It was the deep frustration of people who depend on their machines to feed their families and refuse to accept excuses from a company that promised reliability. The TG series was more than a mechanical failure. It was a breakdown of trust. Why these tractors became hated. Looking back at this list, a clear pattern emerges. The problems of the 2000s were born from technology leapfrogging practicality. Manufacturers pushed hard to impress buyers with electronics, digital controls, improved emission systems, and new transmission designs. But farming doesn't reward technology that can't survive the dirt, the dust, the mud, and the long hours of real agricultural life. A tractor is judged by the same standard today as it was 50 years ago. Will it work when I need it most? In too many cases, these 2000s machines answered that question incorrectly. When a tractor fails at the worst moment, when rain clouds are advancing, when livestock are hungry, when the window for planting is closing, the owner's disappointment hardens into a memory that never quite fades. The legacy of regret. Interestingly, some of the tractors on this list have been improved over time. Updated parts, new software, and refined components eventually corrected many of the original flaws. But memories in farm country are long, and reputations earned by breakdowns take years to repair. Many farmers still warn others to avoid these models entirely, not because they want to criticize machinery, but because they care too much about the work to let someone else repeat their pain. The 2000s were an era that taught the tractor industry an important lesson. Progress must never outpace reliability. Technology should enhance ruggedness, not replace it. And any tractor that enters a field must understand that it will be judged not on what a brochure claims, but on how it performs when the ground is soft, the deadline is sharp, and failure is not an option. And those who own the tractors on this list learned that lesson the hard way.